In this video, we're going to talk about block scheduling. Block scheduling is an amazing tool to use in a practice, but it can also be very complicated. When you watch this, it's going to be a lot of information. I encourage you to take it slow. We actually break this video down into 3 parts, so if you want to start part by part, that might make a lot of sense for you as you start to tackle this system in your practice. Achieving the ideal practice day, free of frustration and complications, is like a Rubik's Cube, or a near impossible puzzle game for most practices. In dentistry, this game is called block scheduling. I'm going to help you by presenting it as exactly that, a game, made up of 3 parts. The good news? If you, administrators and doctors, are trying that schedule calibration exercise from the last video, you're already solving part 1. You're determining where in a practice day the doctor wants to perform those larger restorative procedures, and where those other appointments or procedures, fillings, emergencies, and all the rest belong in your practice day. I want you to think of this part as the game board. Part 2 of the game, the goal. What financial number do you need to hit every day to win? Look back over your last 3 months at your average daily production. Let's say it's $5,000. You can make that your goal. You can increase the goal if you choose. How do you reach your goal? Part 3 of the block scheduling game is determining the procedures and codes most commonly performed in your practice over the last 3 months. Look those up. They are the game pieces. Let's say you average 8 crowns per week. 4 root canals, fillings, 2 consults, 2 new patient exams, 4 emergencies, etc. And then everything that happens on the hygiene side, scaling and root planing, prophies, perio maintenances, and so forth. This is the important part, strategically placing the right number of procedures in the correct spots to help you reach your goal day after day, week after week. This is where the scheduling game gets a little tricky for practices. They might average 8 crowns per week, but last week they did 13, and this week they did 3. Last week was profitable, but exhausting and overwhelming trying to jive the doctor and hygiene schedules, and admin was frustrated because they were behind. This week wasn't profitable, and the doctor's frustrated about low production, maybe seeding a lot of crowns or seeing emergencies. We've all been there. So let's play a round of block scheduling and get an idea of how this should look. Let's lay out schedule templates for hypothetical, ideal 4-day week. In this scenario, we know the doctor typically likes larger cases in the morning and maybe 1 in the afternoon. Looking at your procedures, you'll need 12 spots for that. Fillings. We've learned he likes meeting new patients in the afternoons, so we start putting those spots for consults and new patient exams in the afternoons. Many teams get frustrated when emergencies run into lunch or past business hours, so we're going to make time for those right after lunch. So a basic daily schedule might look like this. We've got room for 2 large cases in the morning and smaller production-like fillings. We've got a slot for an emergency after lunch, a large case, administrative time for the dentist, and a consult. Now let's start plugging in hygiene. The goal here is to align the doctor's and hygienist schedules where the doctor can best come in for exams with minimal interruption. So where we might have a crown prep here, this is a great time for scaling and root planing. Here, where we have fillings, we're going to plug in prophies because it's easier for the doctor to break away. In the afternoon, you might schedule larger perio cases where the doctor is involved in a large case. Put a prophy here if the doctor doesn't mind being interrupted during administrative time. So you've got your game board set up. Now let's say your patient Mr. Jones calls, wanting to schedule that crown prep. Remember, in this game, he plays by your rules, and so you're going to use the rule of 2. Give him a couple sets of 2 options at a time. Mr. Jones, do you prefer Tuesdays or Thursdays? Okay, Tuesday? Do mornings or afternoons work better? Afternoons? Great. We reserve special time for that procedure at 1:30 on Tuesdays, so I will reserve that time on Tuesday the 14th at 1:30 just for you. Now again, this is a very basic illustration of how block scheduling works and how you fit patients into your schedule. You're going to have to be flexible if you experience a run of emergencies or cancellations. But at least in this scenario, we're being intentional about reaching our daily goal. This looks like a profitable day and an organized week. The production is balanced, predictable, and as you make this strategy a habit, you'll get into a groove, reduce frustration, and know where to place patients in the schedule. Because in the game of block scheduling, you have to set the rules. If you need help customizing your block scheduling strategy, just reach out to us at info@compassdps.com, and we will provide support in building a winning block schedule.